And a warm welcome to the program. I'm Melinda Akinlami. Our focus is on the South today, but first, the top stories from other regions. The federal government has increased the tariff rate to 225 kilowatt per hour for Band A customers. This new rate takes effect from today from Band A customers serviced with a minimum of 20 hours of power a day. The new charge is 3 times more than the existing rate. Property is estimated to be worth millions of naira, including houses, pole wires, shops and vehicles have been destroyed by a windstorm accompanied by a heavy downpour in Takum local government area of Taraba State. Some residents attributed the devastating impact of the windstorm to deforestation in the state. According to them, the surrounding forests, which served as windbreakers over the years, have now been cut down. They are appealing to the state government to look into their plight and assist them in rebuilding their homes. In Plateau State, angry youths of Angwan Rukuba in Jos North local government area destroyed and burned properties of a farmer yesterday for allegedly killing his employee. According to eyewitness accounts, the incident occurred when a theft was reported on a poultry farm, but rather than hand over the suspect to security operatives, he allegedly manhandled his employer, leading to his death. Outraged by the incident, the youths in the community proceeded to the farm, housing about 5,000 birds, looted the chickens as well as the eggs, and destroyed the building before gathering at the residence of the poultry owner. An agriculture expert is advocating for the expansion of oil palm cultivation areas beyond the southern region of Nigeria in order to increase production above the consumption level. The acting executive director of the Nigeria Institute for Oil Palm Research, who shared this view with Channels Television along with oil palm farmers, also gave some essential planting tips for better yield.
The oil palm fresh fruit after harvesting is received from the field either as loose fruits or bunches. The processing stages for small, medium or large-scale processors are usually the same. The difference is mainly in the equipment deployed. Here at the small-scale mill, a farmer and agriculture consultant, Mr. Edomayua, explains that the fermented fruits are filtered and then steamed in a large cooking pot, also called a sterilizer. From the sterilizer, the fruit goes to the digester, responsible for pounding. And then it's transferred to the press. He says it started with a small manual press years ago. A slightly bigger press has since been added. Mr. Hewa notes that the palm oil extraction process could be faster with bigger machines. Still, it's a good place for a beginner without much funds to start.
For a beginner, if you want to go into the processing, you need a lister, 8 horsepower lister. You need one digester. You need one presser that will press the oil. Then you can do the selection of the kernel manually. But if you can afford the selector, or you use the digester also to do the selection, or you buy a selector.
He believes encouraging investment in agriculture is one way to tackle unemployment.
It's an area we advise government to get involved. We are talking of insecurity in the country now. Majority will be happier if they have something doing.
Another suggestion is that young people start early and not wait till retirement age before getting involved in businesses like the many available in oil palm cultivation and processing. Jessica Olubuse, Channels Television News.
Staying with agriculture, the governor of Cross River State, Mr. Abasi Otu, is urging investors from all sectors to collaborate with the state to improve the nation's economy by investing in its vast land. He made this call in Calabar, the state capital, while hosting a group of investors who were interested in boosting the state's agricultural sector. According to him, a well-structured promotion and involvement in agricultural production will not only increase food supply, but also boost the economy.
With the increase in petroleum product prices and transportation costs, obtaining a comfortable life has become challenging as prices of goods are skyrocketing due to traders traveling long distances to purchase food items. In Calabar metropolis, residents are struggling to survive by feeding hand to mouth due to the effects of the economy.
A cup of rice now 500 naira. Can you see? As against 120 naira in 3 months ago. There are no a tuber of yam now. You can't get a tuber of yam at 2,000 naira. Is it chicken 10,000 naira?
It's really affecting the citizens of Nigeria because the amount of money or the income we used to have before to live a good life doesn't really do anything for us anymore. Okay, like for example, you see what I'm holding. I just bought onion, and this onion before is 500 naira, but now I bought it for 1.5. So the economy is very harsh on us, and it's telling. If you look around, you can see people are frowning. Nobody's buying and smiling.
I'm urging or calling on the federal government. They should, whatsoever they are doing. Obviously, presently, I'm not necessarily interested in what they are doing, that the dollar is reducing in rate. But whatsoever they are doing, I pray more grace. They should add more effort. It won't be something bad if we get $1 to 1 naira.
For Governor Abasi Otu, the key to overcoming this economic situation is to utilize the vast land and raw materials available in the state to not only meet the needs of Nigerians, but also create opportunities for exporting these products, ultimately boosting the nation's economy.
It's become clear when I look at almost all the assets we already have in place, and then the things which nature has presented to us. I believe that the two coming together would take Cross River State to the next level. I've discussed our various programs with you, our focus and where we're going. That we have about 500,000 hectares in our land bank, which we are ready to move into action very quickly. As a matter of fact, we've started already in terms of land preparations because the rains are almost here. And this year alone, we are looking at about 100,000 hectares.
Investors are already showing interest in taking advantage of the state's rich resources.
We see Cross River as a state that, if well positioned based on your vision, can become a major hub for agribusiness. And I don't mean agriculture, I mean agribusiness, where you're adding value, agro-processing. And that requires investment. It requires partnerships. It requires establishing solid businesses to be able to do that. And we believe that that is an area that we can work together on.
The Cross River State government believes it's important for Nigerians to look inward and leverage on the state's natural resources to improve the agricultural sector.
The 2011 United Nations Environmental Programme's report highlighted the dire situation faced by the Ogoni people in Rivers State due to oil exploration activities. One key recommendation from the report was the need for the livelihood restoration. Our correspondent, Deborah Agbalama, brings us the latest on this development.
The Sustainable Alternative Livelihood is part of the implementation of the UN Environment Programme's recommendations on the rehabilitation of Ogoni land. Since the launch of the $1 billion Ogoni cleanup project in August 2017, efforts have been largely concentrated on land restoration, with only a handful of initiatives carried out to improve the livelihood of communities affected by the spill. However, things picked up in 2023 with a series of trainings launched by the Hydrocarbon Pollution Remediation Project. The agency mandated to implement the sustainable alternative livelihood in Ogoni land to equip the youths with relevant skills in various industries to enhance their employability. One of such initiatives is the Career Enhancement and Employability Workshop targeted at fresh graduates from Ogoni.
At the moment, we are training 5,000 youths and women from Ogoni in 21 different skill areas. But we need to also engage in training of our undergraduates and fresh graduates. So today's program is about career enhancement and employability. So we don't want to wait until our students graduate from the universities before they begin to look for their life pathways.
This is the first phase of Career Enhancement and Employability Workshop for Ogoni fresh graduates and students in tertiary institutions. And to help them open their minds and expand their horizon, Dr. Akanimo Odion, a renowned writer and head of African Strategic Partnership at the University of Lancaster, United Kingdom, is in Nigeria in his capacity to engineer this. He emphasizes the importance of such exposure for the youths.
You can spend time speaking about the gap between academia and industry, but the point is, what can the young person do on their own? It's easy to complain and blame others, but I've come to discover that with the right guidance and facilitation, young people can actually do a lot. From my experience doing this for a long time, what young people need more than anything else is not give me money, because you can get money and be broke tomorrow. What they need above all things is guidance. Is access to the right information to do what's important at the right time.
Over 1,000 participants had the opportunity to engage in interactive sessions, as some of them share their thoughts on the impact of the training.
You can actually do a lot for yourself. You know, there are skills within you, there are skills you can leverage on, there are a lot of things you can do. There are problems everywhere, and then once you can see a problem and think of the solution, then you've actually carved out something for yourselves.
That actually derived today is actually for me to encourage others with the knowledge I've gathered, to encourage others that there is still hope for us as Ogoni students to emerge in the right place in the society.
Meanwhile, plans are on the way for a partnership between HyPrep and the University of Lancaster Environmental Center for Capacity Building of Ogoni youths to optimize effectiveness of the proposed Center of Excellence in Environmental Restoration of Ogoni land. Deborah Abalama, Channels Television News.
Still in River State, members of the National Youth Council of Nigeria say they are over the political crisis in the state, as the situation can create a loophole for the government not to become accountable to the people. The youths made the call in Port Harcourt, the state capital, where they appealed to Governor Sim Fubara to honor the president's peace accord by resubmitting the 2024 appropriation bill to the lawmakers for effective implementation of the state's fiscal policy. They also advised him not to be carried away by praise singers who are likely to abandon him in difficult times.
We advise Governor Sim Fubara to, without delay, present the 2024 appropriation bill to the properly constituted Rivers State House of Assembly and stop further spending without any known backed law. In the same vein, we condemn in total terms the use of taxpayers' money to fund mega press conferences, programs, solidarity, protests, court cases, etc. These frivolities add no value to Rivers people who yearn for development. Going forward, Rivers should not take it lightly with any person or persons who they market Rivers State as a means of survival. Ultimately, we throw our support to the Rivers State, House of Assembly, ably led by Right Honorable Martins Chika-Mewule. Our decision is born out of their resolve to stand by the rule of law and not to be held as hostage by the executive arm of government, or popularly known as rubber stamp. We shall never be cajoled into supporting illegality and undemocratic tendencies. This Rivers State House of Assembly has changed the narrative. We also commend our proud Rivers export and FCT minister, His Excellency Chief Barrister Nyesom Wike, for his visionary leadership and style, which has truly connected Rivers State to the center, placing us as a grade A state in the decision-making process of the national government.
The Vice-Chancellor of the University of Calabar, Professor Florence Obi, has emphasized the need to strengthen security measures within the premises of the institution to prevent further incidents of kidnapping. She urged the federal government to provide necessary resources and support to enhance security in the university, including the construction of a fence to protect the students. Professor Obi stressed that the safety of the students is paramount and should be a top priority for all stakeholders involved.
It's a recurring thing. You recall that just some few months back, one of our professors was released after more than a month in captivity. You also would have known that we lost one of our neurologists, a professor, since last year. She never came back. We've lost a number of staff. We've lost students to this crime, where criminals come through the water just because the university is just by the water, the Kwa River. So they come through the waters, bed their boats, get into the staff quarters or the hostel and kidnap their students. And it's more so because we don't have a perimeter fence. And that is what we have been appealing to government and calling on the President, Minister of Education, Third Fund, everybody to come to our aid and assistance. We can't continue this way. During exams, we have to draft in security personnel, the military, the army, the Operation Akbakuk, which is a state security outfit, the police. They have to take over the waterways and just cordon off the whole of that area to enable our students write exams. You know, we have our law faculties just by that area, and that is where the university is moving towards now, and that is where the hostel, where these children were kidnapped, is. And a lot of students' activities are there. And so students are scared, even the lecturers are scared, having late evening lectures, early morning lectures. The first time they kidnapped students, when they come for, they went in there for morning lecture. That was a GS course that was supposed to be 7 a.m. They were kidnapped.
Let's get more on some of these concerns raised on the safety of schools. We're being joined on the program by security and safety consultant, Mr. Kingsley Uzoma. He joins us live from our studios in Abuja. A pleasure having you with us, Mr. Uzoma.
Thanks, same here.
Now, it's been heartbreaking to listen to the news of kidnappings, which makes the headline one too many times. Case in point is the Unical incident and this week's kidnapping of students in Delta State, and that's just in the South-South region. Tell us your thoughts about this.
Well, it's obvious that the kidnapping of students from secondary schools, primary school, and now to the higher institutions has become a sort of a new normal in our nation. You will remember 2014 was the peak of it during the kidnap of the Chibok girls, and the federal government put safety measures in place. That was actually the first time the Save School initiatives was taken to see how our schools can be protected against bandits, kidnappers, and what have you. But again, before then, you also remember that these schools, institutions, are vulnerable to cultism, among other things. There seems to be some degree of upgrade Then 2014 till now, that's roughly a decade. We've seen across different geopolitical zones, it keep happening over and over. And security agencies, yes, we know the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, they also have a safety initiative to protect schools. The Nigerian police, last year we launched a program called the Schools Protection Squad, of which standard operating procedures for it was also launched, and different programs. But now the cases of kidnap keep recurring, and the question is, what is it that we are not getting right, or they are not getting right? Okay, why are we reacting to security issues other than being proactive? Then if you check the case of Unical, for instance, and the message from the Vice Chancellor seeking the same federal government to see how schools can be protected, then you cast your mind back to the landmarks of these universities, how porous, how vulnerable they are in terms of perimeter fencing and what have you. And the question is, why annex mass spans of land to your institutions when you cannot be able to protect or secure them? Most of these institutions, even more from this far north, they constitute grazing routes to herders, who in turn, these herders, some of them are spies to the bandits. So that's part of the root causes and remote causes of these problems.
So one of the things that Professor Florence Obi mentioned is the perimeter fence, which you also mentioned as well. Don't you think it will help at least reduce this incident?
Is one thing, like I said, the last expanse of land that some of these schools have annexed to themselves, it cost huge on the part of the government to appropriate in terms of perimeter fencing. And when you have that, is it going to be a block wall, or those secured with some degree of electric fencing and what have you? You must also consider the safety of the students, because that's where security and safety clash. Then when you have this perimeter fencing also, how do you enhance surveillance? You must also bring in issues of surveillance in terms of CCTV and motion detectors to integrate. Then schools, in that case, schools need to have command and control centers monitoring, because before now or currently, what most of our security institutions have done is to bring out publish telephone numbers that you call in terms of emergency, rapid response, and what have you. But what is the time limit when such calls, alarm is being raised in terms of emergency? The time to response for rescue is also an issue. And the person responding for such rescue, the first responders, are they ready? There are also issues of logistics that surrounds it.
Security and safety consultant, Mr. Kingsley Uzoma, a pleasure sharing your thoughts with us on the program.
Thank you.
The Rivers State Commissioner of Police has asked his officers to be of good conduct and uphold the tenets of policing. This remark was made by the Rivers Commissioner of Police, Mr. Olatunji Disu, during the decoration of 78 officers who were newly promoted from the rank of Deputy Superintendent of Police to Superintendent of Police in Port Harcourt, the state capital. Speaking to journalists after the exercise, Mr. Disu said this will serve as a motivation for his officers to continue to fight crime in the oil-rich state. Eight months after a stray bullet from the gun of NDLEA officers killed 2-year-old Ivan Eromosele and left his younger brother with an eye injury, their parents are pleading with the president for his intervention to salvage what is left of their son's eye. They are appealing to President Tinubu to prevail on the NDLEA officials to make good their promise to give their son the necessary medical attention to prevent his eye from going blind.
They have killed my son with straight bullets in the shop.
8 months ago, operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, were on an operation to capture offenders.
They have killed my people.
Unfortunately, a stray bullet from one of its personnel hit and killed a 2-year-old, while the shattered glass as a result of the same bullet went through the left eye of his younger brother. His devastated parents took him to the Federal Medical Center at Sarah for treatment. A few weeks after, the NDLEA boss visited the family and promised to ensure the little boy gets the necessary medical attention.
We are in the process of making sure he is sponsored to the hospital chosen by the father in the US.
8 months down the line, the family says that promise is yet to be fulfilled as their child's eye deteriorates daily. Accusing the agency of doing nothing to help as promised, the victim's parents say a large chunk of their income is spent on drugs, and efforts towards securing a visa to get medical attention abroad has been futile. They are asking the president to intervene.
At least let them treat the boy. Let them take responsibility for their action. Not suffocating me, allowing us going through stress. I'm still begging federal government. I'm still begging Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Her mother is emotional as she narrates how traumatizing the whole experience has been, not just for her, but the family.
I hardly step out of the gates. I have been indoor. Because I have a child who is always reminding me of the whole thing. I close my eyes and the whole scene is playing back in my head.
The man sued them to court and they brainwashed the man to go and withdraw his civil suit in court. He sued NDLEA over the killing of his child and then shooting of his child. And they brainwashed him to withdraw. They are going to take the son to abroad for surgery. And till this moment, nothing has happened. It is from one promises to another.
This is one operation by the NDLEA against drug peddlers which did not only cut short the life of a boy, but also on the verge of causing another to lose his left eye, except something is done, and fast too. For now, the parents are hopeful that the president will prevail on the matter to get the NDLEA to make good their promise as soon as possible. Such a sad scenario there. Well, that's the program today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Melinda Akinlami.